and therefore we don't have the dollars to invest in our future. I think green energy is, so government should play a role in allowing new technology to develop, and one of them is green energy. And when you do the quick analysis, believe it or not, it probably won't surprise you, you can build a pipeline and you'll create some jobs for a little bit when they build, and welders get through their thing, and the heavy equipment comes out and digs trenches and all that. But green energy actually will create 5 times as many permanent jobs as the fossil fuel energy. Pennsylvania could be a leader in that because of the advantages we have in, sun and wind and waterways and those kinds of things. So there's a vision there that could be played out. The revenue stream, I guess, is worth mentioning because I mentioned fossil fuels. Believe it or not, we have this Marcellus shale and gas that is going to enter these pipelines and end up at the port. And Pennsylvania does not tax the extraction of those minerals. Zero.
About that for years.
Zero.
Years.
Texas taxes it at 7.4%. Oklahoma taxes it at 4.7%, and West Virginia's in the middle. So these, fossil fuel kind of states that we think of, they tax the extraction of gas and minerals, and Pennsylvania does not. So the money for our schools, the money for a whole bunch of other efforts and investments, it's sitting there, and we're letting it go through the pipeline for free.
And what is what's their excuse for not taxing it? I mean, I think I've heard some stuff.
There's excuses. There's a story that says, well, Texas doesn't really tax it. They it's a one-time fee. But then they have a gross receipts tax that you really need to look at, right? So it comes back around. It simply seems that somehow that the Republican leadership in Harrisburg has acquiesced to the will of the gas industry. Do we need to tax it at 7.4% like Texas? Maybe not. But, at half of that, it's an enormous amount of revenue.
Are the ones that are up for now,
Mm-hmm.
are they like metropolitans, or are they out there?
A lot of them are in our eastern section of the country, and I think,
Of the state.
yeah, I'm sorry, the state, Commonwealth, and I should also tell you that one of the exciting things about that is a large percentage, it might be 80%, it's a big number of the new candidates are really very, very well-credentialed professional women. They really are. They're well-prepared, they're running great campaigns, and I could give you a list of their names. I'm honored when I'll get to sit in a room with 7 or 8 of these other candidates, and they're women, and it's eye-watering, what they've accomplished already in their professional careers, and now they're heading to Harrisburg. So it is going to change. I was mentioning, I think Gary and I were talking earlier, and there's a list of these things, like just the basic, in the issue of gun safety, 96% of Americans believe we should have universal background checking. Mm-hmm. We could do that. So if 96% of our country wants to do that, how come we can't accomplish that? Right? That's the bellwether of democracy. You have that level of a majority, and something else is holding back our decision processes. And there's particularly in the area of guns, there's those statistics are powerful. It's 96% of the country that supports universal background checks. It's close to 80% who support a waiting period. And neither of those issues offend the Second Amendment in any way. We could accomplish those things if, the gerrymandering or the campaign finance was in a position where good policies were enacted rather than the will of an entrenched, powerful minority.
But something is new now, and it's all these young students that they are not even old enough to vote, and they are getting together and trying to fight this.
It's astounding. Marcus and I went downtown in Philadelphia, the students from Parkland High School in Florida, they did their bus ride up here, and I'll tell you, first of all, they were astounding. They're articulate, they knew exactly what they were saying and why, and so you're moved by that. But then the strategy of what they're doing was even smarter. So these are young men and women who lived through a shooting in their high school in Florida. And they now sit on a stage with a group of other high school students, and they had them in Philadelphia, and they could say, I experienced a shooting in my high school, I know about gun violence in a school. My friend over here, he's from Chicago, and he's lived through a gang shooting on a street. So he knows about gun violence on the streets. And I reached out to our friends in New Jersey, and we found these two students who know about, a gun issue that happened because of domestic abuse in the home. So here's these young teenagers from Parkland, Florida, and they're building a coalition of teenagers who had that same experience of gun violence, but in all the other categories.
But they are also the
Stunning.
future, they are the future.
They are.